If you were to ask me to choose just one minifigure to represent Star Wars as a whole, it would be a surprising but certain one. Even with over 1,000 unique LEGO Star Wars minifigures that currently exist in the lineup, the first character that you might think of could be the original Darth Vader, or some iteration of Luke Skywalker, maybe even C-3PO or R2-D2. Well, I'd have to say it's the 2008 LEGO Stormtrooper. I mean, just think about it. This figure came in mass quantities across multiple spans of LEGO generations and has received new iterations at least every decade. It's been spotted across legendary video game titles such as LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, in a plethora of promotional material, including box art, and it's a pretty recognizable figure to the average person just because of their sheer quantity on screen in the movies. The original Stormtrooper is the pinnacle of LEGO Star Wars. 2008 was a different year for LEGO Star Wars. It was also the same year that I got my first few LEGO sets. In fact, my first Star Wars LEGO set ever was 7667 Imperial Dropship. I almost vaguely remember opening the box and building the set. It was almost like a dream, really. My relationship with LEGO Star Wars feels quite different than that of most Star Wars fans. Rather than being interested in Star Wars before purchasing my first LEGO set, I was actually drawn in by the charm and characterization of LEGO's own take on Star Wars. I'm not really sure what's the best way to describe it. LEGO designs have a very specific soul to it that a lot of other toy brands lack. Even to this day, most of the products that LEGO releases are an absolute hit to me, even if they may be seen as unpopular opinions across the majority of LEGO Star Wars. To bring up a more recent example, in August of this past year, many fans have vocalized concerns about the 212th Battalion troopers in the ATT having the incorrect markings on the helmet. The concern had actually become so widespread that even LEGO released a statement that they would not be correcting the 212th Battalion trooper. Honestly, I'm not sure to this day why this is such a big deal to the fans. I definitely understand getting LEGO versions of these characters to look as representative to the original design as possible, but I think people just need to learn to accept that LEGO is sort of like an art. They have their own take on these designs, and it's why we have so many different changes for the Clone Troopers, Stormtroopers, Bounty Hunters, Rebels, and practically every original trilogy character receiving massive overhauls over time. Some designs that LEGO made back in the 1999 debut of LEGO Star Wars absolutely would not stick today just because of the standards of the technology used to print and mold these figures have improved vastly in the last 20 years. With these improvements comes higher expectations of quality for consumers, especially in light of recent price changes to the LEGO portfolio, which has priced out a lot of people from buying LEGO. But all this leads back to the original 2008 Stormtrooper. Its design holds the most weight in terms of recognizability and can be seen as the poster child to LEGO Star Wars as a whole. But why is this minifigure so astonishing and recognizable? Well, for one, Stormtroopers don't have a super encumbering name across all of the Stormtroopers to exist. Not one is actually named in a LEGO Star Wars set. In some ways, both newcomer Star Wars fans and those who aren't well in the know often mistake Clone Troopers and Stormtroopers as being nearly the same, strictly because of their white uniforms and prominent helmet designs. Both in regular Star Wars media and in LEGO, they are known as the largest threat to the protagonists of Star Wars. But it isn't just about their easy name or their attachment to Star Wars as a whole. In my opinion, it has to be the design of the figure. The original Stormtrooper retains consistent proportions and has a great amount of posability. It also came in a wide range of iconic sets from the Death Star to the Imperial Dropship, the Imperial Landing Craft, and at least over a dozen other sets. Not only that, but the design in itself is quite timeless and doesn't actually look out of place when you put them up next to modern LEGO Star Wars figures from the current era. It's really telling how one of the latest sets by LEGO to come out actually has two figures that attempt to mimic the design of the original 2008 Stormtrooper. Han Solo and Luke Skywalker's Imperial getup look shockingly close to that of the original design. It almost feels as if it's a teaser to bringing back the original Stormtrooper helmet mold and print. Otherwise, I think LEGO would have opted to just use the existing 2019 Stormtrooper body and legs. I feel like LEGO completely missed the mark when debuting the redesign of the Stormtrooper in early 2019. I mean, the helmet just feels off in its proportions. Sure, it's more detailed and features dual molding, but I feel like they did a rather poor job at scaling the helmet proportions. It doesn't feel like an official design by LEGO. It's almost like the Family Guy parody of Star Wars with the comically large chin illustrations that appear throughout the parody. But I'm sure this topic has been a horse well beaten at this point. Yes, the 2019 Stormtrooper is bad, no matter how much it's grown on the fans. Sure, there are other variations with the original mold, like the Rogue One and Rebels variant, but I just feel like they lack the same LEGO charm that I was talking about earlier. They're just a bit overly detailed in the wrong places. It does feel like a nitpick, but in no way am I claiming that my opinion is definitely correct. I just feel like this figure has been a staple of my childhood and many others who grew up on the theme. I've grown attached to the original design for the Stormtrooper. It has all the quirks of the classic LEGO design without looking aesthetically unappealing. It's been a staple minifigure throughout the history of LEGO Star Wars. But of course, this is just my opinion, and I'd love to hear in the comments what you'd choose as your favorite Star Wars minifigure design.